Learn to be super successful. Subscribe to my channel, Meathead.
You don't have to know debits from credits for this deal. Literally. You ask too many questions that don't mean anything. Well, not just you, but I mean everybody does. You ask questions based on your own insecurities. And we all have them, myself included. Mine are minuscule compared to yours, but if you have a gun to my head and the hammer's back, you got my attention. But unless you got a gun to my head with a hammer back, you don't get my attention. Because I've dodged bullets before. Yeah. Could you speak up, please?
When you say after the first deal, then I get a CEO, wouldn't it make sense?
No, you may not have a CEO for 5 deals. You can't have a CEO until you can fucking pay the motherfucker. They're not going to come work for free. The board members work for free, ostensibly, because they're getting free founders' equity. But you're not going to get people in there. I mean, remember I said yesterday, you want the Onassis people says, you want the measure of employee loyalty, Dan? How many paychecks will they work for nothing? And normally 0. Although I've had some people work for months for nothing. But I mean, when you have we'll talk more about it tomorrow morning, but the Viking bitch has extraordinary leadership skills. Was this the webinar when she talked about her board move from Houston to Dallas or vice versa? And that has never happened in 53 years of me doing this. Where they move on their fucking dime for a slag that squats the pee, that bleeds, every 28 days. I've never seen that before. And then she has to fire the guy. She didn't have to fire, she fired him. I mean, that's unheard of. Just like the 2 deals that Peter, that's unfucking heard of. You don't hear about that in the world. You just don't. So, but I mean, these people are going to work for nothing. And I don't know if this was the webinar that the guy that she fired actually put a couple $100,000 in. Is this the same guy? Yeah. And then she fires him. Most in this room couldn't do that. You take it because you need the cash flow. You take the $200,000 that the CFO put in your pocket. And all the questions are based on your own personal nuance. Insecurity, lack of self-esteem, lack of self-confidence. All of them. And that's normal. And it's like when she said, what are you going to ask me don't ask me how do I get out of my comfort zone. Remember that question? Because her comfort zone is not yours. But it's obviously you're concerned about the comfort zone. And you should be. Because most of you, your comfort zone, I won't say it's non-existent, but it's closer to non-existent. It's like I told you, the 2 big salesmen that have been here a few years ago, we've never heard more ways to ask, does it come down to cold calling? The Mercedes guy and the BMW guy. And they both thought it was a joke because they were cold calling motherfuckers. And you don't have 5% of my communications goes, you're a billionaire. If Gabriel, little tub of shit 25-year-old, he's done 48 deals. Somebody I got an email earlier today, 48 deals, not 48. 500,000 Swiss francs in valuation. Okay. Doesn't know shit. How's that possible? Forget the 12-year-olds, because, see, you think they're Michelangelo, even though I've told you they're not. So forget them. Just take a tub of shit little midget that loves the fine dining. Fuck, if my daughter brought him at home, I'd shoot my daughter in the head. You still don't want to accept it. You know, the iron lung guy's dead now. I bring him in the fucking iron lung. And you figure out he's Michelangelo in an iron lung. Because if they did, how come you didn't? Why don't you just say that? Even I'm a cunt. I've always been a cunt. I'll probably always be a cunt. So how do I uncunt myself to do what these morons have done? That's the real question. But nobody asked that. I see your T-shirt when I was at fine school, and one of my Hall of Famers is a grad. But I took him from drive-by killer to Penn grad to gazillionaire. And his picture is, where the fuck is he? He's the only guy that's got the black kid with the graduation shit, you know, the platter on your head. Killer. I still remember when he graduated. I am God. Fucking I am God. You know? And the guys, the only way you're going to know that you can do it is you got to go out and do it. And you've heard, you know, the Viking bitch, you know, cold calling is not the end of the deal, although almost all the guys and gals that are very successful still do cold calling. Andre still does 50, 60 cold calls a week. I mean, these guys, because, you know, you never want your deal funnel to dry up. And when shit happens and your 9-year-old daughter gets pregnant and all these things happen in life, and, you know, Carling's, what you're going to hear tomorrow, his mother and father died 45 minutes apart during Corona. 45 minutes apart while he's doing deals, running and gunning. 45 minutes apart. And but it's possible. Okay, boxing. The pugilistic, no cold call will be as worse as the hardest punch any of you took today. No cold calling. Okay? Now, well, other than the twisted leg, from the Serbian gangster over here, normally somebody goes off to the hospital. So if you're going to go, don't tell me. I don't want to know about it. Okay? But I mean, we've had guys that got hurt seriously, but we don't put that on YouTube. Had a guy got knocked blind. He took 2 hooks to the whatever here and jarred whatever your eyeballs are connected to, and he's a little Dutch guy. And like it was surreal. So what's the takeaway from boxing? Other than your boxing skills need to be uplifted, and your cardio, for sure, everybody's cardio needs to be up to lister.
You have to learn how to take a punch.
I was cheering for you, old timer.
Thank you.
Yeah, I was cheering for you.
It would be nicer if you have a little Vaseline on your face so the punch can slide off a little. And you can do that while you're cold calling. By the way, they won't know.
Yeah. It's quite remarkable what this brings out, the boxing, when I came up with the idea. But it's, you know, nothing that you're going to attempt to do and succeed at doing in the QLA model is like taking a punch in the face. Now, you'll emotionally, it's like TK said, it's a punch in the gut because, you know, he wants to be, not their friend, that's not the right word, but he wants to be respected. See, I've had respect and smoke blowing up my ass almost my entire career because I've been super successful. Most people don't experience that in their lives. And so I'm not seeking that. And guys like me, Elon Musk said not too long ago in an interview with somebody, I would rather stab a fork in my hand than talk about my emotional instabilities. The richest guy on the planet. And he's goofy as a $3 bill. Psycho. Richest guy on the planet, though. And most of those guys are goofy, too. So you don't have to be, I don't know who is sane. I really don't. And then it's the definition of sanity, but I don't know who that is. But certainly not me, for sure. I'm not even anything remotely close to being normal. And I don't want to be normal. And the thing that I stood out when I was in the hood, as they say, is I always had a big fucking mouth. I always had a big mouth. And you remember when, most of you aren't old enough, when Muhammad Ali was Cassius Clay. I'm the greatest. Remember, I'm the fucking greatest. He hadn't won 2 fights yet. Well, I was screaming in my mouth since I'm 5, 6, 7 years old. Same thing. And I was looking at the weights. When I was 12 years old, I weighed more than the heaviest guy in the box today. Significantly more. I'm 12. I don't think I was 10 in that, but I had a spurt during a summer. I grew 6 or 7 inches, and I know you don't believe me. There's no competition, and you still don't believe. But Rebecca said, the Viking bitch said, it's easy. Not easy because where she is now, but it's easy. It's not hard. And Viking bitch 2, which is her classmate, they play basketball together. I think University of Texas. I'm not positive, but they ruled the court, so to speak. And she's done terrific as well. It's not. You should look at that thing that Josh Kim says on his 18-minute exit from here, on his 21st birthday. He puts it in perspective. So for those of you that say that you've read on my or listened on my show, I know it's not true. You don't want to hear that. You don't want to hear that it's easy. You don't want to hear that, the only time they ever asked him about, there's only 2 or 3 of you that are young, but when he was, I think 19 or 20, they finally asked him how old he was. Somebody did. And then I remember, I still remember, and they made fun of him when he was here because he's blonde, he's Asian, Kim, he's Korean, half Korean, no body hair. And when he was, I forget who was standing, which one of the lot, whichever one of these, before we got him corona, where everybody's got their own bathroom, they made fun of him. I still remember that. Who's laughing now? Asians don't have a lot of hair anyway, and he's blonde. So you're making a mountain out of a molehill. Not hopefully, because hope's not a strategy, but you're going to see a few other people that, you might be able to relate to. There's no rocket scientists coming up. Now, we're going to have to see Simon. Where are you? We'll have to see Simon, the billionaire, later. Okay. And he's the only guy currently that is going after the big elephants and doing them. Oh, the Nazi. Okay. Well, we'll still have to see him. We'll look at him first thing in the morning. Simon the Nazi is a healthcare professional who is done very, very well in Germany, not too far from Andreas, actually. And he is a little Hitler. He likes to be called that, little Hitler. And you can't goose step and that kind of shit in Germany anymore. You get in trouble. But he doesn't seem to care. And he gets away with it. And he's done terrific. And he's going to tell you tomorrow morning, they lick my ass just like they lick Mr. Peña's ass. And the deeper they lick, the more they and I like it. And he's well educated. He's not a pig farmer like some of you in here. Got no education. We got the pig farmer, but then we got you that dress up to pretend you're not a pig farmer, that are educated. 2 or 3 of you went to, good schools. But he went to a good school, but he has disdain for his education. And he sent his baby sister, his younger brother, his next younger brother, their spouses to the seminar. All of them. They've all come now by now. He sent his father and mother on a around-the-world cruise for 500,000 euros. So they have a taste, because he wants them to come, but they haven't come. A taste of what luxury is. But his baby sister sat right there, and she was 17, and I said, "Is he like this to you?" "Oh, he's much worse. I mean, he's awful to me, and he's always been awful." And he says, "Because he wants me to be tough." And I always wanted a baby sister, but maybe I would have been awful to her too as well. And so, but sent his whole family here. Because if my family can't get rich, I don't have anything to do with them. That's his theory. All of his siblings have done deals. One of his siblings was a cop for 11 or 12 or 14 years, gave up police force, and they're not as successful as he is, but they're all doing well. They're all doing well. So he showed him what you could do. No, he showed him by himself. Rolls Royce, Bentley, blah, 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 blah. And then he sent him here, with their significant others. And they're all doing pretty well. The longest one, shortest one did a deal in about 4 or 5 months. The longest one did a deal in about a year. And because he says that otherwise I can't deal with my family. Because I'm not going to pay for them other than this. But we'll test that tomorrow morning. Any comments about or questions about the boxing? Yes, sir.
I think it's important to know how to receive a punch, but also very important to punch back.
Well, and today is pushback, which is for cunts. But I was thinking of that when you guys were boxing, or some of you were attempting to box. But anyway, and this all started much differently. When we started the boxing, I'm fighting all of you, one at a time. That's how this all started several years ago. I was 4. But my insurance and a few other things got in the way of that. But that's why I wanted to do it. I wanted to test myself. Because I'm always looking for some way, what you're not going to do in your weekly report, how did I scare myself today? Most of you aren't going to do that. You're just not. Back in my early days, I used to go down to Harlem when I lived in Manhattan. I'd run around Central Park twice, throwing up all the way because I have a hangover. I was still drunk. And I go down to Harlem and run. And, I'd look for trouble. White guy. Now, Harlem is nice now. Ever since Clinton moved in and bought a building or they gave him a building, it's relatively, not safe, but relatively safe. But I used to go down there, 140th, 145th, 158th Street, looking for trouble at 3, 4 o'clock in the morning. And you could find trouble in Harlem at 3, 4 o'clock in the morning. And but I'm continuing. I haven't jumped out of a plane in a while, but I'm continuing to do shit like that because I don't want to get lazy. I still wish that I spent 125% of my money every year, but Sally, we put the brakes on that. So now we build up cash like a mint now. We got so much cash, way beyond the limits of insurance. So, that's all we do. And Sally, we switch from the Swiss franc to the pound to the dollar, once in a while back and forth. Waiting for the big tsunami coming. When it wipes out your 401k, and whatever the equivalent thereof of 401ks, because it's coming. Why do Apple, Berkshire Hathaway, and those guys all sitting on hundreds of billions of cash? Why? It's not because of their 6 months reserve so they can pay bills when everything goes to shit. It's because when the world ends, cash is going to be king. Cash has always been king. Transcends Bitcoin, gold, and all that other stuff. And there'll be, 5 or 6 or 15 or 20 guys or groups that reap the benefit. Now, in closing, when I had the mentor program, this is what it looked like. You need a little extra push sometimes. And I was known for that. No, well, I mean, I will neither confirm nor deny, but in the 90s, I hit people, but we had a special forces guy from Germany back in 98 or 99 who came through, and he said, I want you to leave me. He was getting out of the military in 18 months or something. He said, I want you to leave me with something I'll never forget. I'll remember forever. We're in the other room. And I said, you sure about this? So he got down on his knees. You know how like Allah Akbar when they chop their head off? Okay. Got down on his knees, and I said, tilt your jaw back a little. And I hit him in the jaw, broke his jaw in 13 places, and he wore a wired jaw for 2 years. So if you go to the German Special Forces and you mention my name, they know who I am. But we don't do that anymore. I'm a kinder, gentler man. I'm a grandfather, But I still have the. When a couple of you were hitting the guys when they were going down to the ground, which you're not supposed to do, I wanted to jump in there and fucking rabbit punch you just like you were rabbit punching them. Verstehen rabbit punch in the back of the head? The king of the rabbit punches isn't here. Where's the old man? He go to the hospital? The second king of the rabbit punches is you. That's you. That's right, Chubby, you. And you can tell some of the guys that have been in barroom fights. Yeah. I was going to throw a chair in there because you're used to hitting somebody with chairs or bar stools. One of the guys here is worth $700 million. His life, and he weighs about 85 pounds. He makes you look big. Okay? He weighs about 85 pounds. His lifetime goal is to get in a barroom fight with bikers and survive. And I said, Bill, that ain't going to happen. You can get in a barroom fight. That's the easy part. But there's no way humanly possible you'll survive. Because the bar stools you see in the movies, they're made out of balsa wood when they hit you with a bar stool. And with a real bar stool, break your back. But it's a good exercise. Tonight we're having dinner in there. Who's my 5:30? 6:30, right? 6:30? Are we going to sing Pennsylvania songs? Penn? Yeah, Petey Conrad, I coached, who went there, and I thought everybody would know that Pete, third guy to rock on the moon, went there. When I mentioned it to the audience, they all looked at me like I had shit on my face. And then I said, of course, Elon Musk, okay, Donald Trump, and I said, Doc Holliday is my favorite alumni, who ran with Wyatt Earp. He was a dentist. And the kids are looking at me, like they're in a daze. But they were very nice to me at Penn, very nice. Treated me terrific. I have no complaints. But I just looked at the audience. There's about 400 or 500 in that big room, and they all looked like spoiled kids to me. Well, they're kids for sure to me when they were escorting me around the campus. The questions they asked were beyond the pale. I mean, they just, And my kid brother was with me. And he said, is this what it's like to be rich, Dan? I don't know, this is a different world than we were raised. And he says, yeah, it's a different world. Pardon? No? You paid for it yourself. Well, good. You weren't there when I spoke, were you? Well, you were? Okay. 2018. No, you were way before. But a lot of alumni came, because I have a lot of alumni that went to Penn, you know? And so, but Pete Conrad, you'd think, and I still remember working with him, and the third guy to walk on the moon, and couldn't make a living, and he was vice president at Boeing. It was really sad, you know. And then the way he dies is he dies in a motorcycle accident in the 90s, taking his family on a motorcycle trip to Santa Barbara from Los Angeles, and he slipped in some gravel and went over a cliff and went down 300 or 400 feet to his death from the moon. And he told me great stories and about, you know, they're according to him, and not just saying he's not the only astronaut. We're not the only place in this. We're not the only things moving around in this universe. And it was interesting to hear him talk. Very polite, nice guy. Pictures over here, someplace. Where is it? And he signed a big life-size autograph picture. Yeah, for one of my sons. Okay, if there's no questions, I'll see you at 5:30, the 6 and the 6:30. And we'll follow up with the Viking bitch. And we're going to see her live tomorrow again, right? Okay.